Here we go with the attributions revision screencast. You can see the main topics we need to know. We need to know about Viner's model. We need to know about attribution retraining, learned helplessness, and self-serving bias. So first thing, Viner's model, you should be able to look at the two dimensions. You should be able to identify those, and you should be able to also identify the four main groups of attributions. If you draw the model, this would get all of those answers. So if you go for that now. Okay, so Viner's model of different attributions. So we're looking at on this side the locus of stability, so whether the attributions made are stable or unstable, so whether they change or whether they don't change. And then we've got the locus of causality, so who caused it in terms of whether it was the person, so it's internal, or was it somebody else or something else external. So there are our two dimensions, and the four main groups of attributions make up the combinations in the middle. So the first one that is internal and stable is ability. So this is internal to the person and it's something that doesn't change. The second one is task difficulty. So that's external, so this is around your opponent's ability. So whether they might have been either too good or not very good. And in the unstable part we have effort. So this is your effort, so it's internal, and obviously effort can change. And then we have luck in the bottom corner, which could be a refereeing decision that luck wasn't on your side, or it maybe was, hopefully. So attributions can cause learned helplessness, and you need to know how this process can happen. So how can attributions cause learned helplessness? So have a look at two different ways. So we need to know about when we succeed and when we fail. This links a little bit to the high NAF performer. So from achievement motivation, think of the person who would likely get into learned helplessness, what attributions they would make in success and what attributions they would make in failure that would cause learned helplessness. So firstly, in failure, which the high NAF person would quite often find themselves in that situation, so that failure will be attributed to their lack of ability. So obviously this is their internal and stable factors. Always worth applying your answers here to Viner's model. So you can see that we work our way around here. So this attributing it to our lack of ability actually lowers our confidence, and that lower confidence we know leads to a worse performance, and this means we're more likely to fail again, and we're then more likely to attribute that failure to our lack of ability because we think that that is the reason for failure. We don't think we're a very good performer. The same person, when they succeed, would attribute that success to luck. So they wouldn't see that any success was down to them. So this should be an occasion where we succeed, where we gain confidence, but it's not. So you can see that here that we don't increase confidence even though we should do because we've been successful. So this again, without the extra confidence, can lead to poor performance, more likely to fail, and more likely to also, next time we succeed, attribute it to luck again. So with these attributions, we're never going to gain any confidence and we're never going to improve. So make sure that you can explain what learned helplessness is, what is it, define it, what effect does it have on a performance behaviour, and it's always worth knowing the two types. So, learned helplessness, 3 words, good enough to describe what learned helplessness is, that they think that failure is inevitable. It doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter how well they play, how hard they try, that they will fail. That's what the person in learned helplessness thinks. So quite nice and easy to remember a definition with just those 3 words. The impact on behaviour is that this leads to giving up easily. And this is even when success is possible. And the 2 types, so we have specific, which can be around something in particular, so a particular skill or in a particular sport, or it can be more global, where you basically think you're rubbish at everything. So if we've got a person in, a performer who's suffering from learned helplessness, we need to try to help them as a coach or a psychologist, and we can do this through attribution retraining. So it is what it says on the tin. We can retrain them to make better attributions, so that we're not making the 2 types that we talked about before that detract from their confidence and therefore their performance. So try to make sure that you know that there are 2 main methods in which we can retrain their attributions to be better. So make sure you know the 2 ways and a quick description of each. Okay, so we can see that the first method is making controllable attributions. So controllable ones are clearly ones in which we have control. Now if you think about your Viner's model, the control box is the one where we talk about effort. So this is internal and unstable. So we can control it because it's down to us. It's internal and it's unstable, i.e. I can change it. Alright, effort can change and therefore you can control the amount of effort that you put in. So effort and controllable attributions are good in general. They can these are good for success and for failure. So if I succeed and I attribute it to the effort or training that I've put in that week, I will associate the success with that effort, and I'll try to do the same again the following week. So the impact on my behaviour is that I will put good effort into my training and preparation or into the match. If I fail and I attribute my failure to a lack of effort or a lack of quality training that week, the impact of that is that I'm going to try to improve the amount of effort that I've put in, the quality of my training, and that will improve us. So controllable attributions are good ones in the long term because they're going to actually improve us as performers. The second method which we can use is self-serving bias, and this is what it says on the tin. It protects our confidence. So you're being biased towards yourself. So we can do this again looking at the two types of attributions that we would make in success and in failure. So in success, you can see that we would attribute success to internal factors, my ability. So making sure that I'm giving myself that pat on the back and gaining the confidence that I should be getting from that success. So when I do well, I need to give myself some credit. When we fail, we need to blame it on external factors like luck. So blame the referee, the conditions, that we didn't get the rub of the green, and this keeps our confidence high. So both of these methods protect our confidence. They either keep it high or they slightly improve it. So this can be good in the short term. It shouldn't be used too much in the long term. We certainly shouldn't use it every single week because players would latch onto this and they would know that we're just blaming it on making excuses. But it can be a good way of protecting players in short-term situations. The last method is not actually to do with attributions but to ensure success. So clearly with the learned helplessness person who thinks that they're rubbish, ensuring success allows them to raise their confidence by making the task easier. So here's a typical question. We can see that learned helplessness is a topic that they do quite like to ask the exam board, and also around the strategies that we can use to prevent learned helplessness. So you can see that the main answers around the idea of a description of what learned helplessness is, looking at global and specific, how we get there. So point 3 is looking at how we get there with the attributions, making sure that we're referencing, you can see internal and stable, external and unstable, that we're referencing Viner's model in your answers there. And then this idea that the effect on behaviour, that we give up even when success is possible. Strategies to overcome, so you can see that achieving success is useful, and that the success is down to the stable internal factors, i.e. your ability, and that failure is down to those external factors like luck. Mentioning here, because it wasn't in the question, mentioning the term attribution retraining is always useful to pick up another mark as well. So that brings us to the end of the attributions revision. So let's just do a quick recap to make sure and test what we've learned. So quickly think about Viner's model. Can you sketch it out? Do you know the 2 dimensions and the 4 groups? Can you define learned helplessness? Can you explain its impact on behaviour of a performer who suffers from it? And can you name the two types? What attributions cause learned helplessness? And how can we get over it with attribution retraining? Remember, there are two main methods. So hoping that you've got all the answers there, and good luck with the topic if it's on the exam.